The heart monitor spiked, then dipped, its sharp beeping slicing through the dim hospital room like a warning siren. Daniel Carter was halfway out of his chair when Grandma Grace's frail hand shot up and grabbed his wrist with surprising force. "Don't go," she rasped, eyes wide, glassy but burning with urgency. "I'm here, Grandma," Daniel said quickly, leaning closer. "I'm not going anywhere." Her grip tightened, knuckles pale. Her lips trembled as if every word had to fight its way out of her chest. Your father is innocent," she whispered. "I lied." The words slammed into Daniel like a collision. For a second, the room tilted, the steady beep of the machine fading into a distant hum. "What?" His voice cracked. "Grandma, what do you mean you lied?" Her breath hitched. Tears slid down the creases of her face. "I sent him there. God forgive me. I sent him there." A nurse appeared at the doorway, alert by the sudden change in the monitor rhythm. "Sir, you need to step back." "No," Daniel said sharply, eyes never leaving his grandmother. "Just 1 minute. Please." Grace's fingers trembled against his skin. "I was scared. I was protecting someone I loved. I thought the truth would destroy us all. But it destroyed him instead." "Who were you protecting?" Daniel demanded, his heart pounding so loud he could barely hear himself. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. Her chest shuddered. The machine began to beep faster, more erratically. "Grandma!" Daniel leaned closer. "Tell me. Please." Her eyes locked onto his. A final breath dragged through her lungs. "I'm sorry," she whispered. The monitor flattened into a long, unbroken tone. The nurse rushed in, pressing buttons, calling for backup, but Daniel already knew. The hand in his went limp. Grandma Grace was gone. Daniel stood frozen as medical staff surrounded the bed, their movements fast and professional. The room smelled faintly of disinfectant and cold air. He felt like the air had been sucked out of his lungs. "I lied." The words echoed over and over in his head. His father had been in prison for 18 years for a murder the family believed he committed. Good man. Quiet man. A man who never raised his voice, who worked double shifts, who tucked his kids into bed every night. Taken away in handcuffs while neighbors whispered and friends vanished. And now his grandmother had just shattered the foundation of everything Daniel thought he knew. Sarah rushed in moments later, breathless, her eyes red from crying in the hallway. "Daniel," the nurse said. "She's gone," he said quietly. Sarah covered her mouth, fighting back a sob. "Oh God. I didn't even get to say goodbye." Daniel swallowed hard. "She said something before she died." Sarah looked up. "What?" He hesitated. The words felt dangerous, like lighting a match in a room filled with gasoline. "She said Dad is innocent. She said she lied." Sarah's face tightened instantly. "What? Well, that doesn't make sense." She was confused, Daniel. "People say strange things at the end." "She wasn't confused," he said firmly. "She grabbed me." She was clear. "She said she sent him there." Sarah shook her head. "You're letting grief mess with your head." He turned toward the bed, now eerily still. "She begged for forgiveness." Sarah's voice sharpened. "And what do you want to do? Dig up old wounds? Destroy what little peace we've managed to build?" Daniel didn't answer. His chest felt heavy, like something massive had shifted inside him. Later that evening, the family gathered in the small hospital waiting room. Aunt Linda sat quietly in the corner, hands folded in her lap, eyes red but composed. She was always composed. Always the one everyone trusted. The church volunteer. The generous aunt. The woman who had helped raise Daniel and Sarah after their father was taken away. Linda looked up when Daniel entered. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart." She was ready, but it still hurts. Daniel studied her face. Warm. Shaken. "Did Grandma ever tell you anything strange today?" he asked casually. Linda blinked. "No. Why would she?" "Just asking." Linda nodded slowly, watching him closely. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. His mind replayed the whisper again and again. The fear in Grace's eyes hadn't looked like confusion. It looked like confession. The next morning, he drove straight to the prison. Michael Carter sat across the scratched plastic table, older than Daniel remembered. Gray streaks cut through his hair. His eyes carried the tired patience of a man who had learned how to survive disappointment. "You look troubled," Michael said gently. "Something wrong with Grandma?" Daniel hesitated. "She passed away last night." Michael closed his eyes for a moment. "May her soul rest in peace." "There's something else," Daniel said quietly. Michael studied his face. "What is it, son?" Daniel leaned forward. "She told me you're innocent." Silence stretched between them. Michael exhaled slowly. "People say things when they're dying." "She said she lied," Daniel pressed. "She said she sent you here." Michael's jaw tightened, but his voice remained calm. "Let the dead rest, Daniel. Digging won't change anything now." 18 years isn't nothing," Daniel said, emotion rising. "You lost your life because of a lie." Michael met his eyes. "And anger won't give it back." Daniel left the prison more determined than ever. If this story is already pulling you in and you want to see how deep this family secret goes, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment telling us what you think Grandma meant. Your support helps these stories reach more people. Daniel began digging quietly. Old court transcripts, archived news articles. He reread testimonies, scanning for cracks. One name kept surfacing in his mind: Linda. She had been the key witness, the one whose emotional testimony convinced the jury. He visited an old neighbor who had lived across the street 18 years ago. "I remember that night," the woman said slowly. "Lots of shouting. But the car I saw speeding away wasn't Michael's. Different color. Different sound." Daniel's pulse quickened. "Why didn't you tell the police?" "They never asked me." Another crack in the story. He drove past Aunt Linda's house later that evening. Lights glowed warmly inside. Laughter floated through the windows. A normal family. Was it possible the woman everyone trusted had destroyed his father's life? Daniel didn't want to believe it. But Grandma's dying words burned in his chest. Somewhere inside that comfortable house was the truth. Daniel sat in his car across the street from Aunt Linda's house long after the lights went off. The quiet neighborhood felt deceptively peaceful, like nothing ugly could ever exist behind those tidy walls. He rested his forehead against the steering wheel for a moment, fighting the knot tightening in his chest. "Don't be paranoid," he muttered to himself. "You don't even know what you're chasing yet." His phone buzzed. Text from Sarah. "Sarah, did you talk to Dad again? Please tell me you're not doing something reckless." Daniel sighed and typed back. "Daniel, I'm just looking for the truth." "Sarah, the truth might destroy us. Sometimes ignorance is mercy." He didn't reply. The next morning, Daniel returned to the courthouse archives. Dust floated through narrow sunlight beams as he flipped through faded case files. He focused on Linda's testimony again. Her statements were emotional but vague. No physical evidence tied Michael directly to the scene. The conviction had relied heavily on her word. He leaned back in the chair, jaw tight. One witness had ruined a man's life. A clerk passed by. "You've been here 3 days in a row," she said kindly. "Must be important." "It is," Daniel replied. "Do you remember this case?" The clerk paused. "Vaguely. It was big news back then. Everyone said the family tore itself apart." Daniel swallowed. "Was there any follow-up investigation?" She shook her head. Once the verdict was in, that was it. That afternoon, Daniel visited the old neighborhood again. He walked slowly along the cracked sidewalks until he spotted a man sitting on a porch repairing a bicycle chain. "Excuse me," Daniel said. "Did you live here about 18 years ago?" The man squinted. "Yeah. Why?" "I'm asking about the night Mr. Harold Benson was killed." The man's hands froze. "That was a mess. Do you remember anything unusual? He hesitated, then lowered his voice. I saw a young guy running from the alley that night. Not Michael. He was thinner, nervous, looked scared out of his mind. Daniel's heart skipped. Did you tell the police? They brushed me off. Said they already had their man. Daniel thanked him and walked away, adrenaline buzzing through his veins. That evening, he stopped by Sarah's apartment. You're chasing ghosts, Sarah said as soon as he told her what he found. 2 people saw someone else that night, Daniel replied. Nobody listened. Sarah crossed her arms. So what? You think Linda lied? You're accusing the woman who raised us. Daniel's voice softened. I don't want it to be her. But Grandma said she protected someone she loved. Sarah's face tightened. Linda loves everyone. Exactly, Daniel said quietly. Silence stretched between them. Sarah finally whispered, What if you're right? Daniel looked at her. Then Dad deserves his life back. Later that night, Daniel followed Ethan. Ethan Reed, Linda's son. 28. Angry, restless, always bouncing between short jobs and trouble. Daniel had never trusted him, but he had never suspected him either. Ethan stumbled out of a bar, laughing too loudly, his movements sloppy. Daniel stayed a safe distance behind, heart pounding. Ethan argued with a stranger in the parking lot. You think you're tough, Ethan snapped. You don't know what I've done. The stranger shoved him. Ethan shoved back harder. Daniel stepped closer, ready to intervene if it turned violent. Ethan suddenly froze, eyes wide, panic flashing across his face. He backed away, hands shaking. Not again, Ethan muttered to himself. I can't do this again. Daniel felt a chill crawl up his spine. The next day, Daniel paid a quiet visit to Aunt Linda. She greeted him warmly. You look tired, sweetheart. I'll make you tea. Actually, Daniel said, studying her eyes, I wanted to ask you about the trial. Linda paused for half a second too long. Why bring that up now? Grandma said something strange before she passed. Linda stiffened. What did she say? She said Dad was innocent. Linda forced a small laugh. Grief does strange things to people. She said she lied in court. Linda's teacup rattled softly against the saucer. That's ridiculous, she said quickly. Your grandmother loved Michael. Then why did she testify against him? Linda's smile faded. We all did what we thought was right. Daniel leaned closer. Who were you protecting? Her eyes flashed. You're being disrespectful. Daniel stood slowly. I'm being honest. Linda turned away, her shoulders tense. Leave this alone, Daniel. Digging will only hurt people. As he walked out, Daniel knew he had struck a nerve. That night, Daniel set up his old voice recorder and slipped it into his jacket pocket. If Ethan was connected, he needed proof. He found Ethan at a rundown gym, punching a heavy bag violently. Ethan, Daniel called out. Ethan turned sharply. What do you want? Just to talk. Ethan scoffed. About what? You gonna judge me like everyone else? Daniel kept his tone calm. About the night Mr. Benson died. Ethan's fists stopped midair. Why bring that up? Ethan snapped. Because people saw someone else running from the scene, Daniel said carefully. Someone your age back then. Ethan's jaw clenched. Sweat rolled down his temple. You don't know what you're talking about. Daniel took a step closer. Your mom protected you, didn't she? Ethan's breathing grew shallow. You're crazy, he whispered. Daniel's recorder silently captured every shaky breath. If you're innocent, Daniel said quietly, then why are you scared? Ethan slammed his fist into the bag and turned away, trembling. Get out, he growled. Before you regret it. Daniel backed away slowly, heart racing. He didn't have a confession yet. But fear never lies. And the truth was getting closer. If you're still with this story and you feel the tension building, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss how this shocking secret finally explodes. Drop a comment if you think Ethan is guilty. Your guess might surprise you when the truth comes out. Daniel walked into the night, knowing the next move could tear his family apart forever. Daniel barely slept that night. Ethan's panic replayed in his mind on a relentless loop. Fear like that didn't come from nothing. Came from memory, from guilt, from something buried that refused to stay buried. At dawn, Daniel drove back to the prison. Michael studied his son's tired face. You look like you're carrying the weight of the world. I think I know who did it, Daniel said quietly. Michael's eyes sharpened. Daniel. It was Ethan, he said. Linda's son. Michael closed his eyes slowly, pain flickering across his face. That boy was always troubled. She protected him, Daniel continued. Grandma helped her. Michael's voice cracked. Then they destroyed me. Silence sat heavy between them. I'm going to get proof, Daniel said firmly. Michael reached across the table, gripping his son's hand. Just be careful. Truth has teeth. That afternoon, Daniel approached Ethan again, this time at a convenience store. Ethan looked worse than before, dark circles under his eyes, hands twitching nervously. You following me now? Ethan snapped. I want to help you, Daniel said calmly. Running from it is killing you. Ethan scoffed. You don't know anything. Daniel leaned in. I know you were there that night. Ethan's jaw tightened. Drop it. Daniel lowered his voice. I know your mom covered for you. Ethan's eyes widened. His tough exterior cracked for half a second before anger surged back in. You better walk away, Ethan hissed. Daniel stepped back slowly. When you're ready to tell the truth, I'm here. That night, Daniel received a call from an unknown number. Stop digging, Linda's voice said sharply. You're putting your family in danger. Danger from what? Daniel asked. You think the truth won't destroy Sarah, your father, yourself? Linda snapped. Some secrets exist for a reason. Lies rot families from the inside, Daniel replied. The line went dead. The next morning, Sarah showed up at Daniel's apartment unannounced. You're tearing us apart, she said, eyes glossy. Linda called me crying. She says you're accusing her of horrible things. Daniel rubbed his face. Sarah, Grandma confessed on her deathbed. Sarah's voice broke. I don't want this to be real. Daniel softened. Neither do I. She sank onto the couch, trembling. What if we lose everything? Daniel sat beside her. We already lost Dad. Tears streamed down Sarah's face. That evening, Daniel received another call, this time from Ethan. Meet me, Ethan said, voice shaky. I can't live like this anymore. Where? Daniel asked. Old River Warehouse. Come alone. Daniel grabbed his recorder and keys. The warehouse was dark and damp, moonlight filtering through broken windows. Ethan stood near the edge of the concrete platform, pacing nervously. You look terrible, Daniel said cautiously. Ethan laughed bitterly. You ever carry a dead man on your conscience? Daniel's chest tightened. Ethan. I didn't mean to kill him, Ethan blurted suddenly. He came at me. Panic. I shoved him. He hit his head. Daniel froze. My mom told me to go home and never speak about it again, Ethan continued, tears streaming. She said she'd fix everything. Daniel's recorder captured every word. You let an innocent man rot in prison, Daniel said, voice shaking. Ethan collapsed to his knees. I was a stupid kid. Footsteps echoed. Linda emerged from the shadows. What are you doing here? Ethan cried. I followed you, Linda said softly, eyes filling with horror as she processed his words. You told him. Ethan sobbed. I couldn't hold it anymore. Linda's knees buckled. I only wanted to save you. Daniel stared at her. You destroyed my father. Linda collapsed in tears. I was afraid. I couldn't lose my son. The moment hung heavy with truth and devastation. Daniel stepped back, heart pounding. This was it. The proof. If this reveal shocked you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more powerful stories, and comment what you think Daniel should do next. Protect his family or expose the truth. Daniel shut off the recorder and looked between them. The law needs this. Linda cried. Please don't. You'll ruin us. Ethan sobbed uncontrollably. Daniel turned away, struggling with the weight of what he now carried. The truth could free his father, but it would destroy the rest of his family. The final decision loomed. Daniel didn't sleep. The recorder sat on his kitchen table like a loaded weapon. Every time he walked past it, his chest tightened. One press of a button could shatter lives, heal wounds, and expose a truth that had been buried for nearly 2 decades. Sarah called at sunrise. Linda hasn't answered her phone, she said nervously. Ethan's missing too. Daniel closed his eyes. They know what I have. Silence hung between them. Are you really going to do this? Sarah whispered. Daniel's voice was steady but heavy. Dad deserves freedom. He drove straight to the police station. His hands trembled slightly as he handed over the recorder. This contains a confession to a homicide and evidence of false testimony. The detective listened carefully, face growing serious. We'll take it from here, the detective said. Within hours, officers arrived at Linda's house. Linda opened the door slowly, eyes red and hollow. She didn't resist. Ethan sat on the couch, staring at the floor, defeated. Handcuffs clicked. The sound echoed louder than any scream. Sarah arrived at Daniel's apartment later that day, shaking. They arrested her, she said. Our own aunt. Daniel nodded, swallowing hard. You did the right thing, Sarah whispered, though her voice trembled with doubt. Weeks passed. Court proceedings moved swiftly. The recording, combined with witness statements and new evidence, dismantled the original conviction. Michael Carter walked out of prison a free man. Daniel stood at the gate, barely breathing as the doors opened. Michael stepped into sunlight for the first time in 18 years. His eyes watered. Daniel rushed forward, pulling him into a tight embrace. You're free, Dad, Daniel choked. Michael held him fiercely. You saved my life. Nearby, Sarah wiped tears from her cheeks. Across town, Linda awaited sentencing. Ethan entered a rehabilitation program under supervision. The family was fractured but honest. Daniel visited Grandma's grave one quiet evening. I kept my promise, he said softly. The truth finally came out. A breeze rustled the trees gently. As Daniel walked away, he felt both loss and peace intertwined. Sometimes the truth hurts, but lies destroy. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you reflect on the power of truth and family, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel for more gripping stories, and leave a comment sharing what you would have done in Daniel's place. Your support keeps these stories alive and reaching more people. The past no longer controlled them. The secret was finally free. And so were they.